Good morning, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. Yes, I am Graham Day, but no, I do not have facial hair. I decided this morning it was going, so yes, there we go. A little bit smoother on the face. How are we all doing today? First things first, the question I have to ask is the audio fine? Yep, it sounds fine. Nice, there we go. Anyway, welcome in. My name is Graham. I'm joined by the man that we call Bibby, the Italian bib man. Rocky Biboa, or what is it? Rocky Balbibba, that's the one. Yeah.
Balbibba.
Yeah.
We got there.
There we go. How's things, Bib?
Yeah, good man. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Not too bad. Anyway, welcome in, everyone. As mentioned, obviously, I'm Graham. This is Bib. We together are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some people may say the #1 video game podcast in the UK, maybe the world. I don't know. Those people that might say that might be us, but still, it counts. It's a thought, and it's an impression, and it's an opinion, and that's important because that's what this is about. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories in the world of video games, and we want your thoughts and impressions too. And we also want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions. I mean, that's kind of important because we're going to have a little bit of a debate. Obviously, we are live right now at 10 a.m. ish on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads, which we go live on each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. But if you are in the chat, please feel free to use your voice because we turn this live stream into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to use your voice. And I can see a bunch of people who are already starting to do that. Before we jump into the chat, though, a couple of talking points. First of all, exclamation mark giveaway. There's only a few days left, literally 4 days left of our 2K giveaway. So we hit 2K followers, and to celebrate that, 2K Games gave us a nice little selection of 2K games. There's 3 games within that package, plus Muscle Moose gave us a selection box, so you've got video games and snacks that you can win absolutely free. Just use exclamation mark giveaway in the chat if you want to find the link to that. It's on our social media. It's free to enter. It's free to enter. As well as that, something that isn't free to enter, but is a nice extra free of charge for subscribers. So if you're a sub, you sub to the channel. Not only do you get access to the emotes and everything that you do for being a sub, and you support the channel, which is incredible. We appreciate that very much. And to show you that we appreciate it, we give a little bit back each month in the loot drop. This month's loot drop is a copy of Cyberpunk 2077. So if you fancy winning that and you're a sub, make sure you're in the Discord, make sure your account's still linked, and get yourself in the loot drop. If not, you miss out. Don't do that. Anyway, how is everyone? How is everyone? Jim Butters is in the chat saying, up the ICU, say up the ICU. Mr. T says, whoa, no be a day. Yeah, no, I decided, like, last few weeks or so on, I've just been like, oh, it's just a bit of a chore. Maintaining it once it gets past a certain length, and I can trim it down, but that means I've got to get like extension cables. So I've just been, do you know, I'm just gonna get rid of it, just so I can start afresh again. So yeah, this morning I shaved it off, and I didn't realise how long it was, so it took me fecking ages. So there you go, it's gone. Graham, you look about 11 without a beard. I know, that's the thing. Danielle just came upstairs, and she was like, oh, wow, baby G. Good morning, gents. Stop pushing the giveaway. Every time you do that, my chances diminish. No. Although, think about it, every time we push the giveaway, that's more people that could potentially enter. That's more people that potentially follow. The more followers, the more reach, the more impressions, the more revenue, the more giveaways. So the more you share it, the more giveaways there will be in future. So yeah. So that's kind of hopefully the logic. I feel the same about shaving each day, so I don't. Yeah. I mean, usually I don't. Usually I just get the razor and just kind of like edge trim and keep the neatness, but yeah, like you get to a certain point and then my face just goes whoop, and it just like suddenly I'm like my beard sticks out, so you then have to trim it in or trim it back, and I just decided to get rid of it because that gives me about 3-4 days of normality and not having to worry about it too much, and then by that point I'll back to Homer Simpson again, like just back to where it is. So, yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that you actually had to give me a stick-on beard when we was on stream.
I literally only removed that from the sources the other day as well. I could stick it on myself. No. I wonder if it's still in there. Okay, no, I'll leave it. Yeah, for those of you that may not have been here in the past, Bibby accidentally shaved, or did you shave too much, or without a guard, or did you do it and then realise you didn't like it? I can't remember what the reasoning was. What was it?
No, so on my shaver, it goes up to like 1 to 16, I think. So I usually have it on 4, but I had it on 1 because I didn't extend it up. It's like one of them heads that you just extend depending on how long you want your beard, and I usually have it on 4, but I didn't extend it up, so it was 1, so it like literally went down. It wasn't quite wet shave-ish like you, but it was literally to the bone. So then the whole thing pretty much had to go because it would just looked ridiculous. So yeah, that was my traumatic experience, and that was a long week, I tell you that.
I wonder. Image source add. Do we have the beard?
You can have a ginger beard though.
Oh, we do have the beard source.
Okay.
add source. Is it too big? I can't tell. Anyone listening to this on demand, I apologise because this is not going to make any sense to me.
There you go. That's perfect. Well, I'm looking at it on a delay, but it's still probably as good as you're going to get.
Hey! Okay, we'll get rid of that. Anyway. Gary says, I would rather do the London Marathon going backwards than shaving. Well, that's all you need. Just start yourself a stream, get yourself a beard sauce. Jobs are good, and whenever you feel you're missing it, boop, one click of a button, the beard is back. Dazlon says, what? Rasher here? Yeah, I mean, I will get a rash here if that's what you mean, but I don't know what that means. But anyway, welcome in, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Plants. As mentioned, we run through the biggest and best of breaking news stories of the day, and as has been the case for the past few weeks, a lot of our stories have revolved around next generation consoles. Mm-hmm. And once again, that is the same for today. And once again, it's a story relating to stock levels of next-generation consoles. So if you're looking for a PS5 and you haven't been lucky enough to get one, it has been confirmed that there will be more in stock. So if you're looking to get PS5 for Christmas, you do have extra opportunities. We have been saying this for the past few weeks. We said that I would be surprised if there isn't more either at launch or towards the end of November. And we had launch, and depending when these ones come out, it could be end of November. But if not, there will be more in December as well. So don't want to say told you so, but absolutely told you so, mate. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, let's jump into the first article. This is written by Adam Vjestica, I think it is, at Tech Radar, and it says, more PS5 stock promised as Sony confirms its biggest console launch ever. PlayStation 5 sets new sales record. Sony has announced that the PS5 launch was its biggest console launch ever, with demand continuing to remain at unprecedented levels. If you've been searching for where to buy a PS5 with little success, Sony also confirmed that more PS5 stock will be coming to retailers before the end of the year, and to stay in touch with your local retailers. Just want to stop there for a second. Who has a local retailer for stock that will allow you to stay in touch with them? I mean, if you have an indie, fine, but most curries and stuff, I mean, if you try to stay in touch with your local curries, nope, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyway, to outsell the launch of the PS4 and previous systems is quite a feat for PlayStation 5, even at this early stage, but it's all the more impressive when you consider the challenges COVID-19 has inflicted on video game developers and the manufacturing industry, as well as consumers. I'll read the embedded tweet, although it may be repeated later on. So this tweet from PlayStation says, we want to thank gamers everywhere for making the PS5 launch our biggest console launch ever. Demand for PS5 is unprecedented, so we wanted to confirm that more PS5 inventory will be coming to retailers before the end of the year. Please stay in touch with your local retailers. Sony's success has led to all of its shipment being sold to retailers, with Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan stating absolutely everything is sold in a recent interview. It hasn't been completely smooth sailing, though, as the PS5 has been plagued by various stock issues at launch. PS5 scalpers have amassed thousands of consoles to resell for ridiculous markups, and some PS5 Amazon orders were also targeted by thieves. But there's no denying that Sony's hardware has resonated extremely well with consumers. Will PS5 become Sony's best-selling console of all time? Well, it's got a long way to go, but it's unlikely. The PS2 remains Sony's most popular console, selling a remarkable 155 million units in its lifetime, partly because it included a DVD player when that was an incredibly valuable feature. PS4 is currently sitting in second place with around 133.5 million units sold, while the PlayStation and PlayStation 3 sold 102 million and 87 million units respectively. There is some point numbers in there, but I left them off. Anyway, we're keeping a close eye on stock that may appear to help you secure Sony's coveted console, so stay tuned to Tech Radar so you don't miss out. Walmart has announced it will have more console stock in today, which is yesterday, at 6 p.m. PT, 9 p.m. ET, that's American times, obviously, because we're in the international Tech Radar site. Anyway, we're also rounding up the best Black Friday stuff. Nice. So we don't have confirmations of where and when, but we do have confirmation that more stock is coming before Christmas. That is something that we will keep you up to date with, but we do have that confirmation. Until this point, it's just been... Oh, let's jump into the split screen. Till this point, it's just been rumours. We've assumed we would have more PS5 stock. It now has been promised. Big thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's something that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks now, especially when it came down to the second. As soon as the console came out, there was a second run straight afterwards. Was it the very next day, or was it on the day of launch that they had a second run in the UK anyway? Yeah, so day of launch, we had a second run. And I thought, if they're doing a second run on the day of launch, we are pretty much guaranteed to get at least another run before Christmas. And I think that was kind of, I don't want to say kind of obvious, but at the same time, you're thinking, of course, they will. They're not just stopped manufacturing these consoles on the run up to the UK launch day or the American launch day. They are continuing to plow through creating these consoles to get them around the globe. So I think this was kind of obvious. I didn't know whether or not there was going to open pre-orders before Christmas, but as soon as that launch happened, the second wave launch, shall we say, yeah, I think it was kind of inevitable. But I mean, it's good luck to everyone that's trying to get one now. Like I said, the scalpers, which we will come on to at some point today, have made an absolute shit ton of money. So it's just going to have to be fastest finger first and then see if you can try and get one.
Yeah. I mean, do you know, let's jump straight into the next article then, because it does tie in pretty closely. So we might as well jump straight into it. It has been touched in this article before we start conversing. I'll jump back through the comments first, though. Tito says, I have Jeff Bezos' private number. Don't you, Kappa? No.
Of course.
More stock coming before Christmas. That's the scalper sorted then, says Gary. I'm still waiting until March, says James. Let some bugs get worked out. Gonna be a hard way, but I think I can do it. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the scalpers do make it easier to wait, I suppose, because you don't really have the option. But yeah, if they start to be just sat there in shelves...
That's one way of looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, if they just be sat there on shelves in stores when you're walking past, that's a different conversation then. David says, give it a few more years, then I'm going to have to shave over the Christmas period because I'm starting to get grey streaks already in my beard. Although I do like the idea of seeing a brighter kid on the bus and just point at them saying, no presents for you this year. Well, yeah, there you go. I mean, that's the plan. That's the plan. Okay, next article then, which ties in very closely and jumps into the scalpers element. This is written by Andy Robinson at VGC, and we did mention yesterday that a scalper group had confirmed that its group had captured 3,500 consoles to resell at extortionate prices. Anyway, this article says, Scalper Group says it has no regrets over selling 3,500 PS5 consoles. UK-based group claims console profits put food on the table for its members. A UK-based Scalper Group has said it has no regrets over allegedly reselling almost 3,500 PlayStation 5 consoles for profit this month. As reported by Business Insider earlier this week, Crep Chief Notify is a company comprising of thousands of paid members who are said to have used bot software to circumvent online retail queues and automatically purchase PS5 consoles as they came in stock. In the earlier report, a spokesperson for the group, which is made up of 12 staffers and charges a subscription of $29.99, claimed it had resold 2,472 consoles this month for profit. Obviously, I mean, I'm assuming that doesn't include anything pre-launch, but yeah, there we go. So, okay. The company has even run Facebook ads encouraging people to sign up to resell PS5 consoles for an instant $100 plus profit, as well as posts boasting of its haul. Unsurprisingly, the group has attracted many negative comments from consumers struggling to obtain a PlayStation 5 console this month, with units sold out at virtually every major retailer. However, in a new statement issued by the group, it defended its actions and claimed that many of its members were struggling financially but could now put food on the table thanks to PS5 profits. On Facebook, the group has claimed it's made its users more than £2 million in profit to date. Previously, it's predominantly targeted sneakers and sportswear. Lots of our community have been furloughed, made redundant, or at some form of disadvantage due to the pandemic, it said. These people have managed to cover their bills, put food on the table, and supply Christmas presents to their children. It may be unfortunate that a child won't wake up to a PS5 this Christmas, but another child may have woken up to nothing. We have no regrets. The company also denied that its users had utilised bot software to obtain the consoles, despite one of its managers previously suggesting it did in the Business Insider report. Sure, we have the advantage with our knowledge and monitors, but that's just being prepared, it said. The PS5 hype started back in October with the pre-order release. Members were informed to purchase on go. We were prepared, had our in-house monitors ready, and come the day, 1,000 consoles were secured. It added, the real chaos started on release day. Once again, we prepped the group, informed everyone of the potential, and was ready to go. The day came, and members had feasted. 2,472 consoles secured on the day, not with bots, as the media is portraying, all manual. In a statement published on Wednesday, Sony suggested PS5 has enjoyed the biggest console launch in history and promised more console stock would go on sale before the end of the year. Demand for PS5 is unprecedented, so we wanted to confirm that more PS5 inventory will be coming before the end of the year. Please stay in touch with your local retailers, as we've just found out. One final bit to mention is that UK high street retailer CEX is offering to buy PS5 consoles for £600. So that's £150 more than retail price, which they will then sell for £750. So scalpers have had that much impact that UK retail is now willing to get involved in scalping and will pay above market price to sell even higher above market price. That's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, scalpers are people, and they have to feed their kids. Bib, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was as you was reading through that, then another thought came into my mind. It's something that Asim's just mentioned as well. But what about if these scalpers are the people who are buying as many as they can to try and sell to people that they know? So the scalper group may end up buying, I don't know, 5 PlayStation 5s for £450. All right. We're ultimately thinking straight away that they're the same people that are going to be selling it for £900 because these are the stories that we're getting. However, what about if that person is just a person that has a lot of money that is trying to secure them for their friends, or family,
that is potential, but that's someone that's spending a £30 subscription fee. If someone is spending £30 to go out of their way to scalp consoles to make sure that they've got numbers of consoles. Yes, there's the potential that could be someone that's just getting them in and being like the Good Samaritan, but that's highly unlikely. You've got to feel.
Yeah, you see, if I knew that, and my family had the money to be able to want to try and get these consoles, but like my nan would never even know where to go if she wanted to buy one for my granddad. My mum would have absolutely no idea to buy my brother one. If Samantha's brothers and sisters wanted to get them for their kids, they would have absolutely no idea or what to do. So they would come to me because I'm a tech guy to try and secure one for them. Now, if I said, right, £30 between them, they'll probably say, yeah, if you think that you can try, if you have a better chance, they might say, is £30. I'm just playing devil's advocate here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I understand.
But the £30 to try and have a better chance of getting the console than someone who would just be pressing Control F5, is it worth it?
The thing is, though, £30 to go out and get the consoles. If these groups weren't setting themselves up and charging £30 fees so that people were panic buying in bulk, it's creating a moral panic. So it's almost kind of vicious circle kind of thing. I mean, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's the Oracle story from the Matrix. I mean, like don't worry about the jar. What jar? Smash. I mean, if she didn't ask it, would he have broken it? If they didn't create the group, would they be sold out? It's that sort of thing. So yeah, I still don't agree. I still don't agree with the logic. I mean, I understand that you're playing devil's advocate. We want to try create that discussion and see both sides of the coin. I mean, there is a good point that we can jump into and obviously pick apart in discussion now. Is it right for someone? We live in a capitalist society. There is this console that Sony is selling for £450. In theory, doesn't cost them £450. I mean, it could do. Some consoles in the past have had higher costs. Some haven't. Let's say it cost them £200, but they're selling it for £450. That's an extortionate markup for Sony because they need to make profit and cover the blah 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 blah. Their games then make them millions and billions of pounds. Is that right? making that much money. That's capitalism. I mean, obviously, we're not in a communist site where everything gets nice and shared and so on. And I'm not even going to get into the communism debate because I basically just say communism is nice, whereas I don't really have an opinion on that. But the point is, this is capitalism. That exists. So why is it all right for Sony to do it and not the next one, especially if people are putting food on the table? And obviously, once again, playing devil's advocate, where does that stop? Let's jump back into the chat and see what people are saying then. Tito says, if they're struggling to put food on the table, maybe they shouldn't be buying £500 electronics. Now, other families cannot put food... cannot put food on the table because they've overreached to secure an inflated PS5. I agree. That's the balance. I mean, in that comment, he's saying one kid's not going to have a PS5 at Christmas. No, actually, one kid might have a PS5 at Christmas because maybe that mum and dad have grown up and not had what they wanted at Christmas year after year after year, so didn't want their kids to be like that. Their kid is in that golden era of gaming, that age. I mean, it's different depending on people, but for me, it was probably about 13, 14 is where video games were peak. It was kind of like everything to me. And if a console came out in that year and I wanted that console and didn't get it, I'd be gutted. So maybe mum and dad have gone out and broken the bank to make sure that kids are getting that. So they're saying, yeah, okay, some kids might not get consoles, but some kids are getting food on their table because of this. Some kids won't be, some parents won't be getting food on their tables because of this, especially in a pandemic as well. I mean, people don't have enough money going around, so you adding extortionate markups on top of it to justify putting food on the table. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's keep going before we start, because the chat will pop. Damn, don't know how I feel about this, says Asim. Some Robin Hood shit or scummy behaviour. I hope this turns out they're selling stolen Amazon ones and get fucked by the police. Yeah. CEX are just as bad as scalpers. They do that shit all the time. Leaning more towards the scummy behaviour, but conflicted. Daniel says CX don't really care. I used to work in HMV. They would knowingly accept product which was stolen from us. Really? That's crazy. They really don't. They do the same thing with the Switch as well. Yeah, CX don't give a shit as long as they make money. For me, it's definitely scummy behaviour. It's opportunism, as I'm telling you. Some may have the means to buy them at that price, but no doubt many will stretch their finances. I mean, even spending 450 quid at Christmas can stretch people's finances. You're already spending a lot at Christmas. You've got to buy your turkey and all the trimmings and your decorations and the little wrap-ups and all your family members and things. Depending on the size of your family or depending on the size of your income, that could be a stretch already. So having to add 450 quid for the next gen console on top of it, and then some people might need the TV to get the full use of it, and maybe you need to buy the 35 quid Astro adapter to make your headset work, and then all of a sudden bits keep coming. But then you add 300 quid extra because one guy decides actually it's 750 because I got it first. Sucker, yeah, that's not good for me. There were literally 15 seconds.
We're forgetting about the fact that a lot of these people may not even be asked about what the PlayStation 5 is. They just know it's in demand, so they're just selling it to try and get money to buy other things, like someone going on holiday next year or whatever it is. They're not just necessarily buying them to keep hold of, to try and sell because they know people. They're trying to sell them because people want them, not necessarily because they want to have them for themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, Daniel talking about his CX and HMV. So obviously he used to work at HMV. His CX would take their stolen stock, and he says they were literally 15 seconds walk from us. Eventually we'd start making our products with UV pens. We then started walking in and taking our stuff off the shelves. Got to the point where we'd go in with our own baskets, grab the stuff, and just walk out. That's incredible. I mean, it's legal though. If you would do it to the police, if the police went in and scanned that stuff and found it was yours, they have to prove that they've paid for it from your store first, and if they can't, yoink, take it back. It's the law. I think these scalpers, I mean, obviously it's simplified, but yeah, I think these scalpers are doing it to make money, as that statement doesn't mention anything about securing them for friends and or family. Yeah, that's the thing. That's talking all about putting food on the table. That's talking all about money and profit. Almost saying like it's okay to steal and rob others to feed your family. True that. Doing some bad to do something good still doesn't negate the fact that you did bad in the first place. Amen. I think there's a huge difference between someone spending billions on product development and someone using a bot to kick out humans who want to buy it. Question, Ice Cream Uploads. Oh, Mr. Tharian Drake's raiding. Let's get back to the question in a second. Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone from Mr. Drake's stream. How are we all doing? Are you good? Are you good? Would you be playing Devil's Advocate if this was for football tickets? Well, that's
Yes.
kind of where I want to go next. I'm just going to run through these comments. Justifying scummy behaviour doesn't make it any less scummy. Having, I think there's the issue. None of it is essential. Ticket touting is being dealt with. Okay. The bit that I was going to jump onto is actually what Tito's talking about now. Ticket touting is being dealt with. Many tout websites being cracked down on. This should be no different. I came from a family where my dad was disabled, and we lived on the single wage from my mum with 4 kids. Never have had a brand new console because we couldn't afford it. Live within your means. Teach the kids the same. Absolutely. I never had an OG Xbox, and the only reason for that is I had a PlayStation back in the day, and I was at that OG Xbox style. That was the kind of the time frame where I'm just coming out of mum and dad's pocket and just stepping into my own pocket. So I couldn't afford OG Xbox. By the time we got to the next generation, I've always had PlayStation and Xbox because I bought them myself. But yeah, before that, I had a PlayStation about a year and a half after it came out, maybe 2 years, as David will be able to tell you. We got it at Christmas. I think it may have even been 3 years into it. I couldn't get it early enough. We would play on David's mate's PlayStation for years before having it. And that's it. We lived within our means. We didn't stretch. If some guy was going to try to sell my dad a console for 700 quid that should be 350, I mean, that guy would get snapped in half, to be fair. My dad was a big guy. But no, the point, coming back to the football tickets, I don't agree with it. I do not agree with it. Ticket touting is illegal. If you have some guy at the ground saying you've got any spare tickets, do you want to buy a ticket? You can do that. You can sell him your ticket. You can buy a ticket. If the police are there, you and him are getting you're getting taken away, or you're getting an on-the-spot fine at least, because it is not legal. It's an illegal practice that's meant to extort people. So that happens in other areas. Yes, this isn't a ticket. Yes, this is a product, but it's the same theory behind it. By jumping in the funnel, by taking away the supply, you're increasing the demand and being able to extort people for more than they need. Extortion isn't acceptable. So whilst they are putting food on the table, okay, that's not great. So you're basically saying that is your job. I would be interested to know how much tax is being spent there, being paid there. I mean, if you're buying in bulk and selling in bulk, you are no longer just someone that's getting rid of your stock. You are actively trading. Are those sales and those purchases, are they being what's the word? Where you record it. I can't remember the word, but are they being documented? It's not the word I wanted, but are you accounting for all of that? Are you paying taxes on all that? Every bit? Are you paying VAT and all of the rest of the stuff that I don't know enough technically to say all the individual bits? I bet they're not. I bet they're not, and that's the problem. Is okay, nice. You're putting food on the table, but you aren't just going, oh, do you know what? I want to get rid of this. I'm going to stick it on Facebook. I'm going to stick it on Gumtree. If you sell on eBay, fine, fill your boots. If you sell too much on eBay, or you sell regularly on eBay, you have to become an eBay seller. You have to start to pay fees towards eBay, because it's not just someone getting rid of it. And that's kind of where these guys are going. Oh, no, we're just putting food on the table. So you're running a business then. So you are working this way. Nice. And are you paying into society like everyone else is? No, okay, nice. Yeah, all right. Okay, not so sure.
Why do you think they're trying to sell them on like Facebook Marketplace to avoid all that shit? It doesn't cost you anything to put anything on Facebook Marketplace. So they're just listing them on there and hoping that some mug around there will be open to buy it. But like you say, with the ticket touts outside football grounds, I will never, ever, ever, ever. I don't even care if it was the 2012 scenario where City was playing the last day and you think it was a guaranteed win. I ain't paying that shit outside the ground. I'm not being funny, but I'm not paying over the odds. I'm not paying £120 or whatever the going rate would have been to go and watch City playing that. I just rather go to the pub with my mates over the road like I did. There's no way. There's nothing that's going to make me pay 3 times the value of a ticket to go and watch something. I don't care what it is, or to buy anything. I know for a fact that if they've got 100 consoles that they're sitting on now, the news that we've gone through today as our main head story, they will be shitting themselves. They would have already knocked 200 quid off that price, because they know full well that within the next month, there's going to be another maybe 2 or 3 batches of these PlayStations getting sent out. And they know that if their prices are too high, they ain't going to sell them. So they will always gain a little bit of profit off it because they would have bought it for 450, and they probably, even if they gain £100 profit, it's still profit to them. I don't know how much they think that their Christmas and how much food's going on the table for the price that they've actually paid for this. Because if they've bought 5 or 6 consoles, that's a hefty gamble, and that is a lot of money that they've potentially taken off the table. So the quote. If I was struggling to put money on the
so scarce, they can do that. They can buy them in bulk, and it's pretty much a guaranteed return on investment. At least getting cost for it back. But yeah, next year not so much. So it's definitely just capitalizing on the times. But I mean, one of the comments, I mean, Asim mentioned like Robin Hood bullshit. I mean, it's that it kind of on the surface seems like that, sort of Robin Hood bullshit, robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. But it's actually not. It's completely the opposite of what Robin Hood stood for. Robin Hood took back for the people from the sheriff of Nottingham and all of that. Higher up people that are taking the taxes and taking everything away from you. Robin Hood didn't go breaking into the poor's house to give to the poor that he thinks is a little bit more deserving. Robin Hood doesn't get to decide who is poor enough. He went from objectively the rich to give to objectively the poor. He didn't make the poor steal off themselves and each other and leave the rich getting rich elsewhere. That's completely the wrong point in that sort of sense. So I mean, it seems like that on the surface, but yeah, it's absolutely not. I mean, when I hear, okay, this is people feeding their kids, that strikes a chord with me. I have a house, I have a wife, I have a child, I have cars and bills and all the things and the stresses that come with that, and I want to make sure they have everything they have and want and need, as everyone does. So I think, okay, do you know what? If someone's trying to put food on the table for the kids, yeah, okay, let me think. That sounds. But then when you think a bit more, it's like, no, it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and I know that heroin is highly addictive and ruins lives, actually takes lives, destroys children because their families are fucked up and all that. But I need to put food on my table. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. One horrendous act is not good enough. Yeah, it's not murder. Yeah, it's not high-level drug addiction. But just because it's not as bad doesn't mean it's not bad. So it's not good. So at first, playing devil's advocate, I think, okay, I can see the angle. But when we weigh it up, when we thrash it out, you're still chatting shit, Crep Chief Notify. What you are doing is a horribly exploitative thing. If you say it's to put food on table, if people are so willing to put so much effort in and they have that much money lying around that they can spend hundreds of pounds in advance to create more hundreds of pounds, then if someone's that creative, then just put that effort into something that's less shitty, and you'll start to find success eventually. My God, I mean, it's not easy enough to just walk into a job, but that's probably oversimplifying it. But if you have that level of creativity, drive, and income behind you, you've got a lot of tools that a lot of people in the world haven't already. If you've got that, then I don't understand how you're struggling to put food on the table generally. But anyway. Yeah, a lot of ticket reselling sites make you sell at face value. I've done that myself when I had NFL tickets and couldn't go, so I sold them for face value on one of the reseller sites, which I absolutely love the idea of. Do you know what? I bought into an experience. I would love this experience. I'd love to go see the NFL or this concert or whatever. And yeah, I can't make it. It. So what are my options? I can abuse someone else and extort them and their emotional attachment to this brand or product or whatever. Do I extort them and get more money out of them? Or do I think, okay, this is someone else that has the same level of passion for this thing as me. We share something here. Do I let them experience and not win anything, but not lose anything either? Okay, yeah, that's good. That's good. Okay, I'm all on board for that, which is why, like, for every 100 consoles you see on Facebook Marketplace, you'll see one person going, actually, do you know what? Got it. I've got 2, or I don't want it, or the one that Bib saw the other day. My brother's pissed me off, so I'm selling his. But at least they're selling it for face value. So
yeah,
there are some nice people out there. Sadly, there's just a lot of knobheads as well.
Your first mistake was buying NFL tickets, if I'm being honest. But I mean, if you can get any kind of money back from them, that'll be great.
Where's Chappers?
I was hoping he'd be in there just to try and reel him in. I've got nothing against NFL. I just think it's fucking shit.
I just don't know the rules. I love the idea of American football, but I love watching films about American football. Don't know what's happening. He's taking a knee. He's taking a knee. Where's he taking it? Whose knee? What's it mean? 3 years after, because Dad grabbed Donna's catalog. There you go. 3 years after launch, before I got my first PlayStation. So, question: I assume these shit-eating grin scalpers are paying the appropriate taxes on their earnings in accordance with local laws? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As Tito says, I'm sure. Of course, they are not. Yeah, they're absolutely not. Daniel says, my favorite thing to do with scalpers was give away free tickets to the people trying to buy from them. Pissed them off to no end when I would do it in London. Amazing. I got done with tickets for Reading Festival. A scalper, I didn't know at the time, was selling for double face value on eBay. Turns out he sold 30 tickets, reneged on all of them. Police didn't care because it was a civil matter, even though I said it was fraud. eBay didn't care because it was after 30 days. Never used eBay since. It's a cesspit. Yeah, so many places. I mean, I've had a lot of success on eBay and Gumtree and Facebook Marketplace and things like that. But I will only ever do cash in hand usually. Well, the one exception is the camera that you're looking at. The only reason I bought that and sent the money ahead for that is because the person that I was buying from was a streamer that I had seen streaming from his profile, his Facebook Marketplace profile. He'd followed me back and we'd talked a little bit beforehand, so I had a little bit of a feeling that he wasn't a bad person. Turns out he wasn't a bad person. Obviously it could have been from what I knew, but other than that, everything is always face-to-face, cash in hand, which is why I don't buy anything at the moment, because you don't see anyone face-to-face or touch hands. So there you go. If you'd known me 5 years ago, I could have gotten you free tickets for NFL. God damn it, Daniel. God damn it. I did get free tickets to the NFL once through TGI Fridays. TFI Fridays. TGI Fridays. TGIs. There we go.
TFIs?
Which ones?
I'd say.
Which one's
Chris
what?
Evans.
Is it, which one's which? One of them's Chris Evans and one of them's... Which one's which? I can't remember. TFI.
TFI.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans. Yeah.
There we go. TGI Fridays, there we go. I won some tickets from TGI Fridays. One of those things like send a picture when you're in store, and me, Daniel, and Chloe were sat having food. So I did the daddy thing of selfies, tweeted it, won tickets to the Jacksonville Jaguars versus someone else at Wembley in Club Wembley or whatever it is, but ended up not going because it was all the way from Manchester, Worcestershire down south and stuff. So we ended up just not using them. But we did get some food vouchers, so we ate the food. That was fine. Bibby the Savage. I don't really care for the NFL, but wanted to go for the spectacle more than anything. See, I would love to go to watch NFL. I mean, I wouldn't understand it at all. But just in the same, like, watching Last Chance U and stuff that's more Hollywood and dramatic as opposed to documentaries kind of stuff. I watch any of that. It all looks incredible. All the way through to the fucking Waterboy, Bobby Boucher. Yeah, give me some of that NFL stuff. I mean, love the idea of American football. I just don't know what is happening. It's the same when I'm playing NBA 2K. Where's Mr. T? Love the idea of basketball. Love the way it looks. The Last Dance, probably the best sports documentary of all time. Definitely the best sports documentary of all time. Put me on a. I was going to be rude and say basketball pitch on purpose then, but I thought actually people might understand, not realise I was being sarcastic. Stick me on a court, put a ball in my hand. I know that I have to keep bouncing it and I can't run with it because that's travelling. Beyond that, I don't know much. So I don't know where I'm supposed to be intercepted or how to tackle or to whatever. So yeah, same thing with American football. I love the idea of most American team sports. Just don't know what I'm watching.
It'd just be like Coming to America for me. Have you seen it? There he goes. The Giants triumphed by kicking a pigskin through a big pitch. It was the most gripping victory. I had absolutely no idea what's going on. You love that film so much.
It's a quality film, genuinely an amazing film. I always forget, like, until I watch it, that Samuel L. Jackson's in it as well. He's the guy that tries to hold up McDowell's kind of thing. It's like, fuck, Samuel L. Jackson's in this, dang it. Oh yeah, I worked those events. I was involved at the halftime entertainment. Are you a cheerleader? Oh, my office was next to the cheerleaders. Was nice. Oh, okay, I see. Hey. eBay don't help themselves nowadays. When I search for stuff, I use the sort by cheapest first, and when you click on it, it turns out to be a drop-down list, and the price turns out to be for a warranty option. Yeah, there's so much crap in there that you have to do. I mean, eBay tried to find ways to circumvent it, but it's people like the scalper groups. They find ways to circumvent the circumventions. Is circumvention even a word? Is that it is? I think I don't know. Anyway, they find workarounds for the workarounds. So eBay. I mean, a circumvention is that like is it a convention for circs? It's a circumvention. So yeah, I mean, eBay try, but this scalper group that proves that people are just asshats, and they want, when it comes to money and they want your money, there are people out there that are just asshats, which is horrendous, but it just is the way of the world, unfortunately. Coming to America is one of the greats, says Gary. I agree. Anyway, let's move ahead. Let's talk about games as opposed to consoles now, and this one is a very interesting story, one that's kind of close to home. In the fact that I thought I knew a decent chunk about one of the most complex things in video gaming entirely. I mean, when I say no good chunk, I know more than most people because of my work in the games industry for a bunch of years. This has completely taken me, caught me off guard. So anyway, we'll jump into the article. Tom Ivan at VGC reports that hundreds of FIFA 21 stars are considering legal action over the use of their likenesses. Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Gareth Bale are among those involved in image rights disputes. So jump into the article. It says hundreds of FIFA 21 stars are said to be considering launching legal action over the use of their likenesses in Electronic Arts football series. Earlier this week, AC Milan star Zlatan Ibrahimovic questioned EA Sports' right to use his image in its FIFA games. He tweeted that nobody should be able to sell or purchase his image rights without his permission, and claimed he was not a member of the global players union FIFA Pro, one of third parties EA deals with to secure image rights. So an embedded tweet, I'll read it first. There could be repetition in the article, so I apologise if that is the case. From @Ibra Official, it says, who gave FIFA EA Sport permission to use my name and face? ? FIFA Pro? ? I'm not aware to be a member of FIFA Pro, and if I am, I was put there without any real knowledge through some weird manoeuvre. And for sure, I never allowed FIFA.com or FIFA Pro to make money using me. Somebody's making profit on my name and face without any agreement all these years. Time to investigate. In response to Ibrahimovic's tweet, Spurs forward Gareth Bale wrote, interesting, what is FIFA Pro? Before adding the hashtag time to investigate. Ibrahimovic's agent, Mino Raiola, told The Telegraph that around 300 players are now considering legal action over the use of their likenesses in FIFA titles. It is not attacking the quality of EA Sports, it is attacking the system, Raiola said. The system is wrong, and that is a fight that Zlatan wants to take for all players. What will happen? We will fight until there is clarity, and we will bring the fight to courts. In a statement, EA claimed that it had secured contractual rights to include the likenesses of all players in its titles through deals with leagues, clubs, and individual players, something Raiola disputes. EA Sports declarations say they have made deals with people who have the rights, but it's from people who are saying they have something that they don't have, the agent said. It's like you are selling my house, but it's not yours. Where I am irritated is that EA Sports knew this for a long time, and they need to stop putting their heads in the sand. He added, the question is very simple. FIFA and FIFA Pro are profiting from the rights that EA Sports happily buy from them, but they buy rights that they don't have. The individual image rights of the player are not with FIFA, FIFA Pro, or AC Milan. They belong to the player himself. EA Sports issued the following statement. We are aware of discussions around licensing of players in EA Sports FIFA. The current situation being played out on social media is an attempt to draw FIFA 21 into a dispute between a number of third parties and has little to do with EA Sports. To be very clear, we have contractual rights to include the likeness of all players currently in our game. As already stated, we acquire these licenses directly from leagues, teams, and individual players. In addition, we work with FIFA Pro to ensure we include as many players as we can to create the most authentic game. In these instances, our rights to play likenesses are granted through our club agreement with AC Milan and our long-standing exclusive partnership with the Premier League, which includes all players for Tottenham Hotspur. Interesting. So, for those that don't know, we've worked in video games for a number of years. most notable in this situation is PES, which is obviously not FIFA, but the closest that you could get to it if you were to look for a different video game. And PES and FIFA, there's always a discussion between them in terms of licenses, ongoing debates. Anyway, things that I have taken for granted from my years of knowledge of working video games is the FIFA Pro license gives you the ability to use all players that are either playing or a part of FIFA Pro. So if you get the FIFA Pro license, you get access to basically their catalogue. And I've just took that for granted for years. I mean, I've never done any investigating, or this is just something that I was told and I've taken as gospel. They've got the FIFA Pro license, so they can use all the players. Oh, nice, great. PES have it, FIFA have it. Wonderful, nice. Some games don't have it, which is why you might see Von Mistelraum or Roberto Larcos or whatever other versions. But when the FIFA Pro license comes in, that's when you get real names. Okay, nice, I understand that. That might not be the case. Interesting. Bib, thoughts?
Yeah, it's a weird situation, this. I was always under the impression that FIFA Pro was always working with the clubs and that this license would have to be renewed every single year, which is why we never get a remaster of any football games. I'm fairly certain now the people who are in the chat would have either played a FIFA or played a Pro Evo, and their favourites may have been FIFA 98 with indoor football mode or PES 5, PES 6, PES 2. And you'd love to see a remaster of those games, but the chances of those happening purely are never going to happen again, purely because of the licenses of the players have expired. They can't use them again. Simple as that. This indicates that that isn't the case, because surely the licenses would have to be agreed every single year. This may not be the case. So I'm very interested to see which players claim that they're part of this FIFA Pro union, shall we say, and who's not, because I think they may be being lumped into something that they have absolutely no idea about. And it's for their agents, really, to give them the heads up. They need to be looking at the contract when it gets signed, because it's not just about, I don't say it's not just about the money for the players, but there is a lot more in the contracts than just how much they're getting paid each week. There will be clauses in there that they have to go to potentially Make-A-Wish stuff, or they have to go to the local hospitals to go and see children over Christmas. They may have stuff that they have to do in the community, i.e. going to schools or going to the local youth club to show up and say, kids don't do drugs, or whatever it is that they do nowadays. I don't know. I'm nearly 30. I'm getting an old man. So yeah,
You're getting an old man? What, for your birthday?
I'm getting an old man. Yes, I hope so.
Nice.
I hope it's me. But yeah, I don't necessarily know what's in these contracts, and it's for their agents really to be looking at the contracts in full to see exactly where their image rights are being used somewhere down the line, because clearly there's a massive disconnect between the club, the players, and this FIFA Pro union.
Let's jump back into the chat. Finishing off the Coming to America comments, Tito says, that scene where the Soul Glow family get up off the sofa still cracks me up. Hashtag, just let your soul glow.
It is a tune, that. It is a big tune.
Every time it comes on, Danielle sings it, and she absolutely nails it, so GG, babe. I just want to point out as well, by the way, I didn't actually give her the credit she deserves. Danielle was the one that shared the more PS5 stock announced article that we led with today, so GG, babe. GG, babe.
Legend. Thank you.
Daniel says, wouldn't EA have cleared this? I mean, that is my opinion. I mean, obviously the devil's advocate statement is FIFA Pro what we believe it is? As far as I'm aware, it is. This is the bit that I was kind of off air before we went live. I was saying to people, I kind of feel like this is a land grab, a money sort of situation. Everything is ticked off, but there's a money conversation here. Yeah. But anyway, let me jump back in. Tito says, well, apparently Zlatan isn't a member of FIFA Pro. I read about this with FIFA 21, says James, but hasn't their likeness been used for years that they've never said anything? Isn't this kicking off because Beckham got paid loads from EA? I mean, that's the thing. Beckham doesn't play anymore, so he's not covered by the FIFA Pro license, so they have to license him separately. But yeah, maybe that's it. They've just realised, okay, they've licensed him separately and paid him 40 million or whatever the touted cost is. I want my 40 million. Yeah, no, you play, you covered. I'm not looking forward for the sequel if it's still going ahead, because Eddie hasn't done anything for a while. What's this about? What is there going to be a sequel to Coming to America? What the fuck? Anyway,
there is actually.
put a pin in that. Mr. T says this is genuinely hilarious. Back to the FIFA article, FIFA conversation. I assume that is Baxter. Good morning, Baxter. It says, "Hope you're well, fellas. Just managed to finally get myself a Series S. Suits me as I don't really have a new flash of TV and I don't play loads of games. You know my love for Bale, but he's let himself down here. Do you know what? I agree. For those that don't know, Baxter, as you can probably tell by his name, I'm not going to say it because I always do you know I'm going to say it. I'm going to get it wrong. Is it Cymru or Cymru? I always in my head read it as Cymru, but it's not Cymru. The Welsh for Wales. Anyway, Baxter is a very proud Welshman and supports all people, not all people, but people of his shared nationality, which is why he's a big Bale fan. But yeah, if Baxter's saying Bale's let himself down here, then you know he's let himself down here. Anyway, Gary says, notice how they didn't bring this up years ago when they worked with EA. Zlatan with the Ultimate Team and Bale when he was a cover star. Weird that. I agree. Yeah, me either. I can't see it being great. Talking about they coming to America. Asim says, having insight into this process, two things at play here. One, player/agent trying to get more money all of a sudden. Two, FIFA Pro fucked up as otherwise these players are part of the union, meaning their name and image likeness is part of the deal EA or Konami make with them. Exactly. That union is a word that I used off stream as well to discuss it with Bibby as well. Realist United, good morning. He says, I hope FIFA mess it up so Pez can rule again. Tito says, FIFA Road to World Cup 2010. GOAT. See, I was talking about FIFA 99 yesterday in the Redmen TV stream with Paul Mitchin. FIFA 99 and that Fatboy Slim intro running up the stairs. Whoa, right about now. The Funks. FIFA Pro.
Show, bro.
Yeah. Asim says, FIFA Pro is a players' union, nothing to do with the clubs, by the way. They said with these two players, the deals with AC Milan and Spurs give them access to player names and likenesses too. Realist United says, Pez.
That would have been in their contract, though, surely.
Yeah.
Surely this kind of thing would have been in their contracts and they've just glazed over it.
There's all sorts of things.
That's their problem.
There's all sorts of things like to be... these might not be exactly accurate, but the point behind them still stands. So say you want to be part of the Premier League. You qualify for the Premier League going up the football pyramid and so on, but to be a part of the Premier League, you essentially have to give up some of your freedoms, and those freedoms could be likenesses, or they could be commitments to taking part in certain events, going to certain things, doing certain things on the calendar. And one of the things that usually is the case is if you join the Premier League, you are then covered by the Premier League broadcast package. They can sell your rights, your image rights, your brand rights, your stadium, stuff like that, for broadcast purposes or for merchandising purposes and things like that. So players that play for clubs within the Premier League will fall under that. That's maybe not exactly, but that's the general premise of it. And the same thing can be not just the Premier League level, it can be at club level as well. You sign for the club, they can use your likenesses as part of that brand. Yes, you are one player. Yes, you are Zlatan. Yes, you are a brand on your own. But you also are getting paid by AC Milan. You are yourself, but your likeness and your every part of you that is something to do with that club is using their intellectual property just as much as they're using yours. So it's a two-way street in that sense. You can't just get paid by AC Milan and get all the benefits of that and just say, no, I'm just Zlatan FC. No, you are, but whilst you are an incredible footballer, you're going to lose a game if you walk out on the pitch in the Champions League against City on your own without everyone else behind you. I mean, the chance that AC Milan will lose to City anyway, because obvious. It's not a Cafu team, is it? There's no Maldini's in there anymore. But yeah, it absolutely smells that. It's almost kind of like. Has anyone seen the Dave Chappelle thing that's ongoing at the moment? Dave Chappelle has had the Chappelle Show taken off Netflix because he spoke to Netflix and said, I made this a million years ago when TV was a bit more contractual, backstabby, cutthroat. He signed a document, he signed a contract, he gave use of his appearance in the show. He got his one-off fee, and he didn't realise that he was basically signing away his face and his likeness and his comedy for them to reuse anywhere and everywhere else. Streaming didn't even exist at that point, but they've managed to resell it to Netflix, and he's not got any money from that. And he's saying, okay, it's not illegal what they're doing. It is legal, but is it right? And that's the sort of question in this. I mean, the difference is Zlatan Ibrahimovic and co are still getting paid, are still at the height of their games, they are still earning major money, but they want more of it. So the Chappelle situation, that's something he did a million years ago, and they're making money off it. If Zlatan Ibrahimovic retires and AC Milan starts selling Ibrahimovic merchandise, he gets a cut of that because it's not right. So the Chappelle situation, okay, I agree with that. But in this situation, just I don't know.
Well, put it this way: are they entitled to use themselves as an image right in any way, shape, or form? If it's in the contract, it again, it comes down to if it's in the contract that they can use their likeness and they are tied in with the club and the club have got the agreement that there's no there's no getting around that. It's your fault for not having this comment sooner. You've had the opportunity. That's the end of that. But if it isn't in the contract and they haven't been asked about using their likeness in the game, then that is obviously a real problem because you can't really do that. But if they're just on a whim, he's just sat there and he's thinking, he's playing Ultimate Team himself, he's just packed himself and he's like, hold on a minute. No one asked me about this. And he's just tweeted it without even thinking about it, then that's on him and he's made himself look a massive cock. But if it's the other situation, then he's obviously got something on his hands. But I don't for a second think that the club have the partnership with whatever governing body, and it would have been in someone's contract somewhere. And I think it's just an oversight on his part, and he's not thought about it before he's tweeted it, which I can't imagine Zlatan doing anyway because he's fucking brain dead at the best of times.
The thing is, if he's not thought about it and he tweeted it, Gareth Bale has responded to it. And for him to respond to it,
we know he's brain dead. We know.
I mean, he must have thought about it, but I mean, the only thing I can think is Gareth Bale has been on the cover and has been paid for it. Gareth Bale's been on the cover of PES and has been paid for it. Zlatan Ibrahimovic has been on the cover and been paid for it, or been involved in the Ultimate Team stuff and been paid for it. So when they see these sort of screenshots, here where you got obviously Mbappe and a number of Lyon. Actually, what team is that, Bib? So got PSG versus
I can't see what you're looking at. I can't see your screen.
I wanted you to say Lyon.
I can't see what you're looking at. No, Lyon.
There you go. There you go. For anyone that watches our Master League stuff, that's a regular thing in the Champions League, by the way. So there's 5 players in there. Those other players are just, they aren't being highlighted. None of those players on that image are being highlighted. Mbappe clearly is their ambassador, but the other players are shown of equal prominence. No one is standing out. You can tell they are likenesses of other players. That's fair usage. So it just seems to me that they've been paid previously, and now they're thinking, okay, we've been paid previously, now we want to get paid again for something where I'm not really being used, but I can see an opportunity for me to exploit here. So I'm going to start to jump in. And if I get 300 of my mates in as well, then, do you know, 300 of us sounds like, oh, is this class action? Yeah, let's get all of the people in, and we might get a big payday. But
God, yeah. Can you imagine though if they ended up winning the case and we ended up everything got completely abandoned and think, right, we got a remaster of some games going on our hands here. Chris Kamara's freestyle soccer, that will be on the list, obviously.
I mean, imagine. What would FIFA is still going to make FIFA, but would that be Paris Saint-Germain with Kylian Mbappe and
Juninho?
In defence, you'll get Cresnel Pumpombe or something like that with a dodgy face. I mean, does that make the editing world suddenly explode? Does FIFA suddenly have all of the editing abilities so people can go through and make all the option files to get all of the player faces in?
Roberto Lacos is back in PES, baby!
Carlos would still be in because they've licensed him individually, so he'd be fine. He's basically an ambassador.
Oh, God. Can you imagine if it came full circle, or when all the people many years ago used to fucking rib PES for not having real player names, and we get FIFA, we had the Piemonte thing last year, and that was a big enough thing for people to go, well, this is actually pretty embarrassing. Now, imagine if the players' names had to be taken out. This would be amazing.
It would also be horrendous at the same time. From a non-PES perspective, it would just be an absolute travesty because there's no way that every single player could get their worth. I mean, you do a deal with one footballer, you're talking tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of pounds, depending on who you're talking to. But you speak to the lower end championship players and you want to license every single player, I mean, what figure do you put on that? Is there a blanket figure? Everyone gets 100 quid. Even still, 100 quid per player. 10 players is £1,000. Say each squad has 23 players. That's £2,500 per team. You do that for every team, across the championship, across the Premiership, across Ligue 1, the French leagues, the Dutch leagues, the Spanish leagues, the Italian leagues, Latin American leagues, the other European teams. Suddenly that's a huge wedge of cash that's starting to build up. And I'm saying 100 quid per player. It's probably going to be more than 100 quid per player, especially if you go into Premiership players. EA suddenly, EA could probably obviously offset that from some of the Ultimate Team stuff, but PES probably won't suddenly be able to go, oh yeah, there's another £20 million for play branding and stuff. It would just have to disappear. So, the point that we've all kind of said in the chat and backwards and forwards is surely this has been something that's been governed and looked at already. There's no way that EA would have gone through this. There's no way that Konami would have gone through this if there was a worry that we can't use likenesses. I mean, the 5-player thing there, Asim did mention, which is something that we do deal with. Ads! Thank you very much for the host, dude. Where is it? There we go. Asim. The only thing is, if they're using a player by himself for marketing purposes, they have to have a deal with him individually. FIFA Pro and deals with clubs give collective player rights, where you have to usually show players together in a group of 3 or 5. This is why the asset we put out for player ratings had 5 players together unless we had an individual deal with them. Exactly. So not only do you have to show a collection of players, they all have to have relatively equal prominence. So that's what I was talking about, this image with Mbappe. This is a little different in the fact that he can be given some form of equal prominence because they have a deal with him, but the other players around him are essentially same sort of size, same sort of colour scheme. No one's in black and white and one guy's in colour. They all have equal prominence. No one is being marketed. They are all just put in a spot. And to go through that level of due diligence and making sure that your branding and assets are on point makes me think that all the T's have been crossed and the I's have been dotted to make sure that this is legit. But obviously, time will tell. We'll see if that changes. But
who knows?
Back says, Cumrai said, there we go. There you go. See, this is where it tricks my mind, because for me, it's CYMRU. For Cumrai, I'd be like CUMRY. My brain just can't compute it. Every time I see it, I'm like, Kimru, no. Anyway. Coming to America has just finished filming on November 9th. Really? I did not know that. Or maybe I did. There's so many films that are being, that are having new ones filmed for them at the moment, like old films that are having remakes or so on. Anyway, footballers have the spoilt brat tag on them, says Gary, and for years, and now they do shit like this. This kind of stuff really annoys me. Let's be honest, though. I kind of expected it with Zlatan. That guy is aren't as cocky as they come. Yeah. David says, given that it's going to go on Amazon in the US and not in theaters, it doesn't look like they have much hope for it unless it's a test like Mulan was for Disney. Thing is, there is a small chance if they drag this out legally, they could get somewhere. If so, it would set a very expensive precedent for both EA and Konami. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, that's the bit I just mentioned then. I completely agree. It could ruin what we know in football games. All of the time spent adding new player faces and data packs and things like that could be a thing of the past, because Konami might just not. They might say, okay, I'm going to have to spend money to use this player's likeness and then spend money to create this player's likeness. So I'm double dipping on the costs. How about we just put a generic face in and then let people create their own faces? It'll just be that sort of way. But if that is the case, imagine how long it would take to get the entire Premier League and the entire Liga 1 and the entire Eredivisie and Serie A and so on, all faces manufactured by decent face builders. It'd be, the first year would pretty much be a write-off, and you'd have to hope that all the faces can carry over to next year, because effort. Also, having worked with Bale, why he's a decent bloke, comes up for good content. His team are money hungry as anything. See, I didn't actually work directly with him. We did some stuff with Bale around Euro 2016 in the same sort of arena that you were kind of doing it. I can't remember what we. Oh no, actually, it wasn't Euro 2016. It was the Champions League in Wales. It was after Euro 2016. So you'd have still been obviously doing bits there. Anyway, I didn't work with him directly, but I got that impression. Realist United says, but they make it back and more on foot. That's true. The way NBA are using their license is the best way. You get a contract to use the license. You get everything within that license: players, teams, arenas, logos. Yeah, and that's kind of what it is with the Premier League. If you become a Premier League partner, you get access to all the likenesses that make the Premier League the Premier League. If you suddenly can't use one club, well then I've not bought the Premier League. I've bought 95% of it, but not the whole thing. So yeah, I don't want it. So that's it. It's the sum of the parts. If you put them all together, you get the Premier League. If not, you get a bunch of different teams and players. And you try sell one player on his own, he won't be able to sell himself. Some players will. Zlatans of the world will absolutely be able to sell himself for £1 million. But pick a player on the bench at West Brom or whatever. Is he going to be able to sell himself for £1 million? Probably not. But that's where the benefit is for all players. The FIFA Pro kind of stuff and the Premier League wrapping them together means that all clubs get paid. All clubs drop that money down to players, and they are kind of getting paid in that sort of way anyway. But yeah, anyway, Strange Al Bailey is saying he's not happy yet. He was on the cover not long ago. Money, money, money. Zlatan wants more cash after he just spent a lot on the PS5 for the AC Milan squad. He spent on PS5s. Fucking scalpers, honestly. God. He needs that money to provide for his family and put food on the table. Hey! GG, James. Yep, NBA license is done very well. Sadly, football is money. It's good, that, isn't it? It's good.
Nice.
Agreed, dude. It's part of the reason why I've lost passion for the game, if I'm honest. Yeah, I understand. It is horrendous because you've got this talk of the European Super League, and you've got this talk of getting extra money, and the FIFA Pro license is not covering things, and this, that, and the other. It's like you're already on bajillions of pounds, and you've got families not feeding their kids because they're having to buy a PS5 at Christmas going on at the same time. It's so out of touch with the world. I mean, I remember back in the day, I can't remember exactly what it was, but United went out and got smashed before Christmas or something like that. And then the players went out on a night out. So we lost the game. The players went out on a night out, flashing cash, big cars and shit. And Alex Ferguson basically said, you do fucking realise who pays for you? All the fans that come into this stadium are struggling over Christmas. We're in the middle of a recession. You guys have just been playing shit, and you're going out, going to restaurants, driving your fast cars, wearing your Rolexes and shit like that. Cover that shit up. Don't flaunt it, because these people have nothing. You have everything because they exist. And it's, yeah, I love that sort of mentality. It's a case of, it's not a, yeah, do you know what, you should be overly thankful. I don't like the idea that if you push it too far, that people should be thankful for what they've got. They've earned it. They absolutely have. But also, just being aware, read the room, for fuck's sake, guys. We're in a pandemic. People are fucking struggling left, right, and centre, and you're worried about, did you get enough money for your digital representation on a poster? I'm not sure. Anyway, Miss Fergie never minced his words. Absolutely. Fair play to Fergie. A lot of footballers, apart from Rashford, are so out of touch. So many of them. Which is horrendous. But is it once again, for like the 15th time in this stream, it's the world that we live in, which is a shame. Anyway, I need to start wrapping things up. I've got a bunch of PS5s to go and sell. There's a couple of people coming in a bit. So yeah, whatever. I've got fucking food to buy and tables to be laid and kids to feed and stuff. Food on the table. That's what I meant to say. Anyway. You get what I'm saying. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us for another episode of The Scoop. To give you a little... Actually, do we have... Oh, we do have more. Sorry, I'm wrapping things up before we've even finished. Okay, let me
even think then.
You are?
I couldn't even think then if we'd had another one at the end of it.
We have two.
Have we?
We do. I'll quickly fly through them, though. This next story is a different game entirely. We aren't wrapping things up just yet. As Tom Phillips at Eurogamer says, Marvel's Avengers is yet to recoup development costs. As Square Enix admits sales were lower than expected. Marvel's Avengers is yet to earn back the money spent on its development. Publisher Square Enix has conceded after it published financial results showing a £50 million loss for the first quarter. Sales of the big budget blockbuster were lower than expected, company president Yosuke Matsuri admitted in a newly translated financial briefing. Square Enix's overall loss for the quarter was caused by a mixture of low Marvel's Avengers retail sales and the amount of money splashed out on its major advertising campaign, which the company had spent big on to drum up interest after the game's earlier delay. Still, Square Enix said it hoped Marvel Avengers would continue to sell, driven by the introduction of new content and characters down the line. Last week, developer Crystal Dynamics detailed the game's first new character, Kate Bishop, who is due to arrive in December. We first heard the word that Marvel's Avengers failed to do the business for Square Enix earlier this month when those financial figures were first announced. At the time, analyst David Gibson suggested that it sold only 60% of what Square Enix had projected at about 3 million or so copies. Crystal Dynamics issued a statement in October promising it would continue to support the game despite fading player interest, and as the low number of people playing on PC began to affect matchmaking. 2021 will bring more heroes to Marvel's Avengers, including the long-awaited and controversial arrival of Spider-Man as a PlayStation exclusive, plus the PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of the game. So Marvel Avengers not doing the biz, which is quite ironic because I spent all last night playing with Marvel's Avengers, although it was in Fortnite. So there you go. Thoughts, Pip?
I don't think this was... I think this is blatantly obvious. I don't think this is to anyone's surprise. It didn't review well. The people who were playing it early, I don't think give it glowing references for people to want to clamour over each other to try and get this bought and readily played. Yeah, interesting. To be fair, I did see a lot of people comparing it to Destiny at one point, which I thought was a bit outrageous, but yeah, that's the thing is with Destiny and this, that Destiny's still going after about 7 years, and this has obviously died within
and
about 2 months.
Nailing it from all intents and purposes. From what I'm seeing this week on social media, there's a lot of Destiny
also,
chat.
In regards to Destiny, massive shout out to Nico as well. He made it onto the Twitch clips. Did you see it?
I didn't know. I saw his clip, but I didn't see that Twitch had posted it. GG, Nico. GG.
Let's see if I can find it to drop it into the chat for you lot. But yeah, friend of the show, absolute legend. Nico Di Maria was part of the Destiny. Let's see if we can try and find it.
I think is it Nico Plays? We do follow him. I think it's Nico Plays. Anyway, whilst you're finding that, I will just jump onto the final article so we can start to wrap things up. This final article, written by Sherif Saed for VG247, says PlayStation Plus December games for PS4 and PS5 have been confirmed. We're getting 3 PlayStation Plus games this December. I'll start with the original story and I'll jump back up. Most of Sony's official channels have yet to announce the PlayStation Plus free games lineup for December. The official Twitter for PlayStation Saudi Arabia, however, decided to pull the trigger a little early. According to a tweet that's since been deleted, PlayStation Plus members get Just Cause 4, multiplayer shooter Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble in December. All 3 games are available on PS4, with Worms Rumble being available on both PS4 and PS5. Worms Rumble, you may have noticed, launches into PlayStation Plus like Fall Guys, Rocket League, and other multiplayer games before it. Usually, PS Plus lineups get officially announced a couple of days before the new games become available, so expect some news soon. All that said, it's worth keeping in mind that the lineup can be different for certain countries and regions in cases where a game is not available / banned in certain locales. Usually, though, it's identical. And now the update. Moments after we published this story, Sony decided to make it official. The platform holder has now announced that, as seen in the link below, your 3 PS Plus games for December are Just Cause 4, Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble. All 3 games can be downloaded beginning Tuesday, December the 1st, and until Monday, January the 4th. Worms Rumble is available on both PS4 and PS5. Anyway, Nico, you were saying... Oh, we got the clip there. Nice.
Yeah. Legendary stuff.
Bye! This pause. I'm going to space! I'm in space!
Get wrecked, idiot.
Come on, let's see some Nico. This is a tweet from Twitch, by the way.
Oh my god!
I love it when they do stuff like this.
All the Destiny content. All the Destiny content. He's gonna
Wait a
hype.
second, guys, don't leave me. What the fuck?
We got it! Yes!
Look at him. Look at him.
Couldn't have been more clutch.
Oh, bless his little face. He's so happy. We got it. Yes. That couldn't be more clutch. GG, Nico. GG, Nico. Hey. It's nice to see our friends doing things. Nice. Nice. But anyway, there you go. There you go. Anyway, so Marvel Avengers hasn't done very well compared to what they expected from it. About 60% of sales from where they expected it to be. So not great, not too bad, but they are adding extra things. I mean, do we think Spider-Man can save it? Could Spider-Man and all that brings exclusively to PlayStation, could that make a PS5 boom next year? What are your thoughts on that, Bib?
No. I think Miles Morales is so much of a better giving when it comes to the Spider-Man front, especially with Spider-Man the original one being bundled in and remastered. If obviously you bought the deluxe version, I think that's so much more of a better offering. And if anything, it's going to turn people off on the other platforms. Like, oh my god, Spider-Man's on PlayStation, and then you realize that you can't play as Spider-Man. I think that's a massive turn off. But yeah, I don't think it's going. I don't think it's going to get saved. I think they'll have to. I don't even want to say they'll overhaul it. I don't know what they need to do to make it better, and that's the problem that I think they're in themselves. What can they do to try and make this more enticing? I mean, the marketing for the game was fucking abysmal in my opinion. I didn't know very much about this game until it came out, and even then, we got drips of information about it. It's one of them you have to realize what it is until you play it yourself. Well, why would I want to spend £50 to then realize that I fucking hate this game? It just didn't get marketed well, in my opinion. It could have done so much better.
I mean, we're talking Marvel as well. Look over Bibby's right shoulder in the top corner of the screen. You can see there we go. Oh, all the way that way. There we go. You can see Iron Man versus Captain America. Was that Civil War? Is that
yeah, Civil War, that one? Yeah.
So you got Civil War artwork there. The amount of marketing that went into Civil War, it was everywhere and done exceptionally well. And they've spent 50 million on marketing this, so they're not gone cheap. They've spent a lot. But I agree, it wasn't necessarily the greatest. It was. I did see it regularly and all over the place, but it was always stuff that was just niche. Like, get access to the beta by being a Virgin Media customer. Well, I'm not a Virgin Media customer, and I'm not going to switch to Virgin Media, so that's completely irrelevant to me. Literally, hardly anyone I know is a Virgin Media customer. Not that I'm saying that's exclusive. Certain areas will be entirely Virgin Media customers. For me, in this area of Manchester, it's pretty much Sky and BT exclusively. I can't get what I want from Virgin. I would be a Virgin customer because of the internet speeds that they can deliver. They just don't do that here, and I'm in a very, very populated area. So okay, that's kind of irrelevant for me. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else they did market wise. I mean, I don't know. Maybe obviously there were probably influencer bits. There was influencer bits, and there was some of the. We were given a code, so they provided us with a code to play the game, which we did, and I did enjoy the game. I genuinely really enjoyed the game. The only reason I stopped playing it on the stream is because we had an install. Like we'd got so far in, it's like you need to download the rest of the game, and that's going to take 20 hours or whatever my internet said at that point in time. So we stopped playing at that point. But I did really enjoy it. The downside, though, I would say, is if you're comparing it to a game like Destiny, that already has an audience. If something is like something, you're already going to be struggling. And not only that, is Destiny still free?
Yes.
So there you go. If you want an open-ended game with transaction-y bits like that, charging the full price is not going to get you in. People, if they want to get
as well, Games Pass, you got all the extra. I'm fairly certain when my mate texted me about it, it was like, you need to jump on. If you've got this on Games Pass, you get all the DLC for free, like all of it, the entire game,
which is an absolute wonderful way to go. All of it there, nice. Whereas you have to pay 45 quid or whatever it costs to get Marvel Avengers to be able to jump in to play the same experience, but without all of your friends who are already doing the same thing elsewhere with all the DLC on Game Pass. And it's that's where it comes from. It's not a single player story game, but I was hyped because I kind of thought it was, and I'm going back 3-4 years when we first got that Marvel Avengers logo. Was it Crystal Dynamics who made it? When you first saw that logo 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever it was, around midsummer E3-ish time, I think, it's going to be an Avengers game. And then it was like a year before we heard anything else on it. And even then, right up until launch, I wasn't sure what to expect on the game. Not because I was being ignorant to the marketing, but just because it wasn't finding me. I wasn't being marketed to, not effectively anyway. So yeah, I understand. I mean,
you don't think it came out at the wrong time as well, though? Like they had all of the build up. Like they could have potentially tried to build it out and get it released around Endgame and things like that. That would have been perfect. Imagine that Endgame comes out and then this comes out.
I think that's probably what they were trying to go for. There was some big delays and stuff with it. I think they did have delays, which is why they spent more on marketing. Apparently, according to that article, I still don't see where they spent the marketing in that sort of sense. I feel like they were let down. Whoever was taking care of their spend for them. So say if they went to an ad agency that was doing website rollovers, takeovers, or whatever, I didn't really see it anywhere. Maybe I did, but maybe I did, but because there wasn't anything major and impactful around it, that it didn't resonate. I mean, part of that maybe could have been COVID. Maybe they were trying to be trying to release it in a COVID world, which meant that a lot of their normal options were taken away. So maybe they were a bit hamstrung potentially. But yeah, it's not worked enough for me. Asim says, I think ultimately the marketing wasn't the best. The game itself was very generic, didn't capture the essence of Marvel Universe. I was interested to play the beta and was like, nah. Gary says, I hate the fact that it looked like the Poundland Avengers. Yeah, Tommy Stonk. He is like Steel Man. Yeah, Gary Clark. It had the problem of coming in after the MCU stuff and not delivering in terms of quality and quantity. Tough job, and I feel for the devs, publishers, but it didn't just feel like it had Marvel magic. Absolutely agree. It's shit for the game, for the devs that work ridiculously hard on it. Advertising in an increasingly digital world is complicated, as you know. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, usually, if for something like that, it's about the anchor. So if you have online marketing, be that ad takeovers, be that pre-rolls, be that whatever, usually there is some form of anchor, the central piece of marketing that it all links into. And I don't know what that would be. Did they have one? Was there something significant? Because there was the Virgin Media stuff, which I only knew about because we worked with Arix, a YouTuber. He's a really good guy, know very well. And he was part of the UK guys that were doing the Virgin Media crossover. So I knew it through him. It wasn't even the Virgin Media paid bit that got me into that, seeing that was a thing. It was Arix that made me aware of it. So yeah, and I don't know what their anchor point is. What was the meaning? What was the message? What was the subject matter at the core of all of their marketing? So yeah, it is difficult, but I don't think it was done well despite being difficult. What's the current story? We're just wrapping up. The final two stories were. So I'll bring them on screen just to show you. It just saves typing it in because we are going to wrap things up now. Marvel Avengers are still yet to recoup the development costs is one of the stories. And the other story, which we just quickly glanced over to, was the PlayStation Plus games for December, which includes Just Cause 4, Rocket Arena, and Worms Rumble. So this is just basically the wrap-up at the end. So we were talking about Marvel Avengers not getting the money that they've spent on it, which is a shame. I mean, the Poundland comment as well, I think that's always going to be difficult. When you've seen Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark for 20 years, how can anyone else be Tony Stark? Especially if he looks similar, even if he looks remotely similar, then it's not. Like, that's where you've got like the Robert Cop figures instead of RoboCop, and yeah, it will always look like that. So that is something that they will always be difficult with, especially coming out so soon after it. But even still, I think they could have, if they leaned into that, but maybe they didn't want to lean into the MCU. They wanted to create the space from the MCU to make sure it's different. But such a valuable property like the MCU, I think leaning into it is huge. I mean, Fortnite Thor isn't Chris Hemsworth. Tony Stark isn't Robert Downey Jr., but they lean into the MCU enough for it to be, that's definitely the thing. Whereas, that kind of almost ignored it entirely, I think, was probably a little bit of a mistake. There was no hook. You almost feel like they need to have the movie likeness or something linked to the movie universe, but imagine that would have been very, very expensive. Yeah, if this is a loot boxy, DLC-ish sort of game, I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying if it is, you get you've got Hulk, but what about we get the Hulk from the movies, or you've got the Iron Man? What about being able to download the Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. skin, or what about Scarlett Johansson? I know, mega money to come in, but if you spent 50 million in your market and got nothing for it, then that's it. Quits in. Ta-da! Yeah. Anyway, why didn't they use comic book likeness? I've no idea, unless that is extra to buy. I mean, it could be, but yeah, there's probably lots of conversations there in terms of might be simple that may not be possible, but from a marketing perspective, I know the difficulties of not being able to have real worldy stuff. I mean, I imagine if there was no COVID, there would probably be an activation where you're walking through a prevalent train station in London, and they'll have some sort of VR, AR experience that becomes the central point of their marketing, like Borat having inflatable Borat on the Thames in London, something like that. I saw that, and there was shitloads of Borat stuff. I mean, I still haven't watched Borat, and I was more likely to play Marvel Avengers than I was to watch Borat's subsequent movie film. But I know what happened with Borat's marketing stuff. I don't know what happened with Marvel Avengers, and I think that's where it fell down. You can't make the money if people don't know enough about it or have the interest to make it. But anyway, now
I think it's going to be very difficult for the Marvel universe.
Oh, sorry. I think it might be a 5-second delay between us. So go on. Say what you say.
All right. I think it's going to be difficult for people to want to care about the Marvel universe as it stands now, anyway, because everything seems to have run down a little bit. There's characters that are beloved that will never be done in the armor or the suit again. So having those people affiliated and portrayed as those characters, it's very difficult now for anyone to even want to, if they ever try to reboot, which they will, Iron Man or Captain America again, massive shoes to fill.
Absolutely. Speaking of rebooting Iron Man and Captain America and everything again, I haven't decided. Thursday's usually a PUBG day, but because we've got 10 levels left on the season pass, battle pass for Fortnite, I don't know. What I either play Fortnite on stream and play PUBG off stream later, or vice versa, play PUBG on stream and play Fortnite off stream later.
I mean, if it helps, I will play Fortnite later on. I'm probably not going to play PUBG. But I'll play Fortnite tonight. I can't be asked, mate.
Just get good.
Honest.
Just get good.
I'm shit here though. So
isn't it PUBG update today? It is.
That makes more sense.
I've already downloaded that on my PS4, PS5, which is downstairs. But I have my PS4 in the setup here. So I mean, I would need to. I suppose I probably need to update Fortnite as well. I don't know. Do you know what? Yeah, it is PUBG update day. I think I am going to stick with the PUBG stuff since we haven't really spoke about Fortnite and putting the content out. So yeah, I will as normal stream some PUBG. Baby wants to go and take more chunks out of the lawn, decorate the house.
I'm banned. I am banned. Never again.
It's all right. He's just got confirmation that he's back in the golfing world again today, so he's fine. He can go.
Exactly.
He can go swing
his
clubs elsewhere.
Back, baby.
Anyway, we are going to wrap things up. I am going to jump on some PUBG. Nice. So we'll go offline and we'll come back on straight away with a little bit of PUBG PS4. So if you want to stick around and play some games, nice. There will be an update. Hopefully it will be quick to install. If that does take forever because it is my PS4 Pro, it might be a case of we do have to jump onto Fortnite instead. But do you know what? There's only one way you can find out, and that's dropping a follow on the channel. If you haven't already, you do get notified when we go live. Hopefully it'll be some PUBG fun times. Before we disappear though and come back with PUBG, is there anything you want to add, babe?
Again, thank you very much, Streets, and everyone that have joined us today. We very much appreciate it. If you do want to be a part of this show and have your voice heard, then there is 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, find us on social media. Spiral Alert is Ice Cream uploads across all major social media platforms. Second way, join us in our Discord. There's a little section on the left-hand side that says The Scoop. Drop in the URL, add your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you thoughts and impressions in the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham? Day
10 a.m.
Ish. 10 today. Good that.
Yeah, not too bad. Another long one as well. Thank you very much for the conversation, the discussion. It's nice to see so much passion. That's what she said. It's nice to see so much passion. She also said that too. Around the Scalpers conversation, the PS5 conversation. It's a conversation that a lot of people, particularly in this stream, are affected. Either they've not been able to get consoles or they want to get consoles or whatever. So nice. Thank you very much for all of the different voices in the conversation. It does help. Thank you very much. That is it. We are going to disappear. Just a quick shout out to Tharian Drake and Ads Players for the raids and the hosts. Always appreciate
Legend.
people, even if you're just lurking. But raids and hosts and things do help the channel too. As mentioned, we are
If you
going
are
to
lurking, just let us know. Exclamation mark lurk.
Yeah. We'll take your seat on the bus. The battle bus in my mind. Take your seat in the ice cream van. There we go. But yeah, that's it. We are going to speak. We'll be back with PUBG shortly. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic day.
And stay frosty.